he shows me that he loves me rather than anything that he says, because he loves me just as much as he did before, and he hasn't changed in the way that he loves me.
So I'm Kirsten Pilati, the very proud CEO of Breast Cancer Network Australia. I am here with one very special legend. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you?
Sure, my name's Tania. I'm 49. I was diagnosed with breast cancer last year in 2022. I work in the superannuation industry. I am married and I have 6 stepchildren.
6?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's a lot.
You're pretty extraordinary already.
There you go.
So your breast cancer experience, what do you remember about that first moment in time?
So I was diagnosed in March of last year, 2022, just after going for an annual mammogram. So I didn't have any symptoms. I wasn't necessarily expecting anything to come of it. So when I did get the diagnosis, it was a bit of a shock. Yeah. It was during a time of COVID, so my husband couldn't come in with me. He was outside but on the phone. It was all a very strange time.
I can't even imagine what it must have been like for your husband to be outside.
Yeah.
Tell us about that and what happened when you came back together.
Yeah, that was hard. There was almost no words between us as well. There was just a big hug and some silence, I think, while we were just sort of taking it in and looking at each other. And yeah, it was just a really quiet kind of moment of, yeah, okay, we weren't expecting that, but here it is. And then, yeah, so that was sort of quiet. And then sort of from the car ride home, it started to be a bit of a flurry of calling my GP, making appointments. So my GP was my first phone call, and then BCNA was the second phone call I made to order the My Journey book. And yeah, because I just really wanted to start to get some information at hand to know what might be coming.
And let's talk a bit more about Rowan and his incredible support, because we know not everyone has that experience. How did his support and love make you feel?
Very loved, very cared for, and I think just very lucky that I had someone that close to me and that person that was just there. You have these beautiful people in your life, and you know that if things get tough that they'll be there for you, but to see that actually happen was actually really quite beautiful, and it really meant a lot to me to see that. He was really great coming to my appointments and asking questions while I was, my head spinning and trying to take in information. He was remembering that information. I'd walk out, didn't necessarily remember everything that had been said because there's so much to take in. So having him there to help with that was great. Yeah.
We have a resource for men who are helping a woman go through breast cancer, saying you can't fix it. Did you get a sense from him that he wanted to kind of fix everything, and how did you have to support him in that?
Yeah, absolutely. He wanted to be able to fix things, and I think it took time to understand that he couldn't do that. There was absolutely things that he could do for me, but he couldn't fix it. So it took a bit of time to sort of realise that, but it was really sweet, him wanting to just take on more. But I was certainly conscious that he already had a lot. He probably did more of the unpaid work at home than I did already, and he was taking on more, and he was still working and I was still working. So I was really conscious of the pressure on him, particularly because I get all the attention, right? So everybody, Tania, how are you? Are you okay? What do you need? But I'm sort of always looking at Rowan. I need somebody to keep an eye on Rowan as well. So I'd often talk to our kids and can you just check in with your dad? Maybe take your dad out for coffee, see if he's okay.
It is very interesting how the dynamic in the family changes, and that the carer becomes the person needing to be cared for. How did you go with navigating that change?
It was hard. That was something that I had to really learn how to accept that kind of help. And there were times that Rowan would still be, what are you doing? Sit down, I've got this. So it was really hard because it's just natural that, you're trying to look after other people, and so it was definitely a learning curve to accept that type of help and just sit there while other people do things rather than I need to get in there and help because I felt guilty. Yeah, I felt guilty that I wasn't helping out.
Like, what kind of support has he shown you to help you get through that? It's a very significant change.
Yeah, it is. He's been amazing, and it's been more how he shows me that he loves me rather than anything that he says, because he loves me just as much as he did before, and he hasn't changed in the way that he loves me. So I think,
Cool is that? I feel very emotional about that because not everyone gets that.
No.
So how special.
Yeah, it is really special. I do feel really, really lucky.
I can't thank you enough for sharing your experience and your messages. I know that other people will feel more supported by hearing you, and they will feel less alone by you being so open. So I can't thank you enough.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much.